I don't have anything to drink. Hold on, let me grab something. Do you drink coconut water?
Yeah, I do sometimes.
Do you ever have the pressed one, the white one, the Vita Coco?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to
I feel
drink
like
that
that
all
one.
the time.
I drink that one all the time. The pressed. I think they just that's literally what they do. It's more like pressed down, right? They like press the coconut more. That's why it's called that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I stopped drinking Vita Coco because there's sugar, like there's added sugars in it.
Yeah, I don't really drink it a lot. I just drink it like after working out or something like that usually,
Yeah, I like drinking
which is
the
probably
pure coconut water. I probably got it
yeah.
here. It's Harvest. I think it's called Harvest Naturals,
Really.
something like that. It's pure 100% coconut water.
More and more like, I mean, you're the same exact way too, but it's like just trying to fill your like just like anything else, like consuming anything, like consuming food or whatever, like the most natural stuff possible. Like yeah, you're like super extra with it. I feel like, but I'm like trying to get more and more like that. It's so important. Like we're just there's so much processed crap out there that I feel like we're fed.
Yeah. I mean, question on Instagram from Brian Blends. Hey, how do you get ungated nowadays? I got regated for a brand and they're asking for a 200 unit invoice.
Um, I'm assuming this is a wholesale like account.
He's asking about getting ungated on Amazon. Um, so, I mean, at the end of the day, Amazon's making it more and more difficult to get ungated for brands, and they're going to ask, for sometimes they'll ask for invoices as much as that amount, 200, right? So, but the more your account grows in size, the lower unit count Amazon asks for on your ungating. So, like when you're a brand new seller, they're going to be asking for more units on that ungate. But what we've seen is that as your account grows, as you sell more brands, as you get some auto approvals, your unit count that you need to buy in order to get approved for that brand is actually going to go down. So if you're brand new, like the two best ways to get ungated, well, the first best way to get ungated is to do Amazon wholesale and buy your product from either an authorized distributor or the brand directly, because that's going to get you the amount of units that you need. It's also a guaranteed source. Um, of course, you got to vet that distributor properly. But if you're doing arbitrage, then you need to scale your account up and um, grow the size of your account. You know,
I actually I didn't even know that it is based on um, the size of your account. I had no idea that it changed based on that. It's interesting.
yeah, I learned that from Miles. Then he's following up with a question: where do I get these invoices? Yeah, I mean the best way, surefire way to get an invoice is from the brand directly. And if you can't get an invoice, you can't buy direct from the brand, buy from an authorized distributor. So a great way to find authorized distributors is simply going to Google and typing in the name of the brand and then searching up distributors in the USA or distributors near me, and then make a list of about 3 to 6 distributors to reach out to, and then go and contact those distributors and tell them that you're interested in stocking whatever the brand is that you need to get ungated in. And so you just have to make sure that those distributors are buying directly from the brand. And there's two ways to do that. Way number one is to go to the brand directly and ensure that they are on a list, their authorized distributor list. And way number two is to have the distributor send you proof of an invoice between them and the brand, or proof of an agreement between them and the brand. It can be a redacted segment of that agreement, but there needs to be some sort of, you need to validate the supply and validate the authenticity of the product. And you do that by ensuring the brand is buying direct, or the distributor is buying direct from the brand. So that's how you get the invoice.
Yeah, it's one of the most important things that we see just in general on Amazon with, you know, intellectual property issues, right? Like above anything, account health, like where you're sourcing the product from matters. And just because something seems like it can make money doesn't mean you should buy it. You know, it was some, what did you say the other day? You were like, a newer seller jumps at opportunity, a more experienced seller questions it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's easy for a newer seller to be like, you know, because you're in the beginning, you're scrounging to find product. Like you're trying to find, you can't fit, you're trying to figure out the sourcing. You're trying to figure out how to get your hands on profitable product in the beginning. And then when finally a profitable product comes your way, it's very easy to pounce on that opportunity. And if you get an account with like a distributor or something, let's say, and you find a product, and it just, you know, like it seems like the profitability is crazy high and it's something you never seen before in terms of profitability and sales volume, and there's low sellers on it. Like if it's too good to be true, chances are that's probably the case. And so something that can save new sellers from really getting burned, both on from an account health standpoint on Amazon and a monetary standpoint, is to, if you get a really good product opportunity, raise an eyebrow, right?
Yeah, we had one the other day where I came to you and I was talking to you whether it was, you know, wanting your opinion whether it was legitimate or not. And I think very well might be, you know, after doing research, but it's like even the slightest inclination of like, we understand how hard this game is. And so when you just get this complete layup that seems to make sense, you question it, even if it's a legitimate supplier once you get experienced, because you're like, it can't be this easy. And sometimes it is, you know, but just understanding the red flags, I think, is what's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, you know, we talk about like WhatsApp, Telegram, you know, ASINs on the price list, the supplier trying to get you to purchase their product, like selling you to purchase their product. All those things are kind of red flags.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they are. He's following up with a question on bought 1,500 units of these Glad trash bags, and I was auto ungated. Sold like 200 units in a couple of days, then got regated, done over $1 million in sales, and sold multiple brands. Yeah, I mean, the reality is that Amazon is regating big brands, you know, and so the best way to buy if you're going to do that, play that game where we're buying big brands, the best way to do it is to buy it from an authorized distributor of those brands, you know, or just mitigate risk by not stocking up on a crap ton of inventory. Right.
Yeah. 30 to 45 days supply.
Yeah. And I would say even less with arbitrage, like, you know, just to mitigate as much risk as possible. Not that you can even really have the choice with arbitrage, because it's kind of an in and out thing, you know, for the most part. Yeah. Darkness is firing away with some questions here. Hopefully we can get some value out of this. I sense that there are going to be some valuable things in these questions. Because of you, I've landed my first 2 brand meetings and potential exclusivity agreements. Cheers, gentlemen. I cannot thank you guys enough. We started business March 14th and we are taking off. Let's go. That's awesome. And Darkness has been on like all of these lives, right? So it just goes to show that when you show up every time and you put in the work and you take the knowledge and you implement it, you get the results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's, two things that make you successful or make anyone successful is consuming information and then executing. And if you consume all the information and come to every live that we do and consume a bunch of other content, but then never execute, nothing's going to happen in the business. So, I'm going to say it's because of you that you landed your first 2 brand meetings. We just assisted in you getting there. But yeah, great job.
Congratulations. It's awesome. Yep.
And what's cool too is kind of as you're going through some of this, right, is I had a personal friend, that Brad and I know reach out to me a couple days ago, and it was just, hey, I just went and I had this great meeting with a brand owner, and we're looking at closing an exclusive, and then he texted me. He said, I get so excited when I'm able to tell you this kind of stuff, and that's like what it's all about. Like, there's such a rewarding feature of being able to develop these relationships and get these things to start going in your favor. Like, it's so rewarding to be able to close these accounts. And I think it's something that only other wholesale sellers will understand, but it's just a great, great feeling. And the more you do of it, the more you want to do,
Yeah, it's like that compounding effect, It's a compounding effect in the skill set, and then it's like one small wins, like the small wins continue to add up over time.
Yeah.
You're working really hard at one thing, and then you get a small win, you close an account, boom, it's more motivation, and then you keep moving up.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through some of the things in here.
About this, how do you approach brands where the distributor currently handles Amazon and the brand says they don't deal with it?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, depending on the industry, sometimes industries will have more, what's the word for it? They'll have a different type of distributor setup. So, some industries, the distributor network is really tight knit, and the distributors are the most important thing, right? And some of them, the distributor is just another channel, but sometimes distributors genuinely are the majority of a brand's business, right? And so, from our experience, we found that those brands won't do anything to upset their distributor. So, if you can find a workaround where you're not hurting the distributor's business or the relationship with the brand, and then you're still giving the brand a reason to want to deal with Amazon, I think that's the sweet spot. But it is admittedly a very hard thing to do when that sounds like an industry specific product where they are just gung ho on their distributors and they don't really deal with anything outside of it because of how close the relationship is. Hopefully that makes sense. It's just, it's a tough thing to navigate.
Yeah. Yeah, we always try to lean in to what the brand's challenges are. So it's like, a lot of brands will say they're only working with brick and mortar and they're not dealing with online sales right now.
Yeah.
But it's your job to help them understand why having a better presence online, specifically on Amazon, helps their brick and mortars.
Yeah, I mean, we look at, we said this the other day too, is there's primarily three reasons why a brand, on Amazon is struggling. Either they absolutely don't care about their Amazon presence whatsoever, or it's like a cry for help, as in there's all these things wrong, they need help, or they just don't understand how to do all the things, even though they want to do them. And so, like, two out of the three of those, you have the ability to step in and provide value. If they truly don't care, which, you have to make that determination with this distributor relationship, right? If the brand truly doesn't care, then I don't think you're going to really get anywhere in the situation. Versus if it's something where they don't deal with it, quote unquote, because they don't understand how, or they maybe want to, but just haven't taken the initiative, then I think you have the ability to provide value there.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Absolutely. Another one. How can I better communicate that I'm not just a reseller, but someone who truly supports the brand's long-term growth and image without sounding like every other pitch? It's a good question. A lot of people can gain some value in that one for sure. I think that when you a lot of this has to do with the way you carry yourself, and not sounding like, it's a cookie cutter template. There's always going to be the brands that, like, they just tell you that we've heard this so many times before, because they have, right? And so because of that, sometimes you just have to know when to cut your ties. But the more you can present yourself as, professional and speak in a tonality that, just really connects with them, the less you're going to sound like everybody else.
Yeah, I think that in reality, though, too, sounding like every other pitch, I mean, the majority of pitches that they get are not someone that says that they want to support long-term growth and image and actually provide value props. The majority is like, I'm going to purchase $1 bajillion from you, and then never doing it.
Yeah.
And then getting angry when they're like, no.
Yeah. I know. It's always
The
like
bar is low. Like,
yeah.
the bar is low. Just because you're a part of these live streams and you tune in and you follow our content, maybe you follow some other, people that are in the wholesale space that are kind of taking this approach. Don't think that that's what 90% of wholesale sellers do when they talk to a brand. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never ceases to amaze me, like, the conversations we have with brands. It's like, and sometimes they'll tell us about these other resellers, and it's literally like their entire, like, everything's like, what's in it for me? They work off of, like, these other resellers work off of such a transactional, ideology, right? It's like they don't even know how to. The vast majority of them have never even spoken to the brand that they work with on the phone. So, like, that's what you're up against. So if you wanna be a long-term growth partner, make a call, because most people aren't doing that. That's a start. Call them. Ask them about their day. Ask them about their company. Ask them about their goals, their core values. The
Yeah.
more you can get them
Yeah.
talking, the more successful that conversation is going to be for you. And you get them talking by asking them questions about their business and stop pitching things about yours.
I just want to touch on, just because, it's very relevant, like current. So, seeing both sides of the business. So, for someone who's listening, right? There's attrition in this business where you're going to lose suppliers. And then there's also the other end of it where you are going to be going out of your way to build relationships. And it's completely two different ends of the spectrum. And today I scheduled a lunch meeting with one of our brands that is, on the other side of the country while I'm traveling. And today we also lost a brand who sold the company, or a majority stake in the company, equity wise, and we no longer have that exclusive, right? So there's the reality of this business is you're going to get both ends of that, where you're developing these relationships and sometimes the relationship goes away, and it's not something that people talk about because it's not like the fun element of it, but it's a reality. And we lose accounts every once in a while, not a lot, but every once in a while. And, so will you if you do this. So constantly doing outreach if you want to grow.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to jump in on Ecom Owen on Instagram. Love the content you guys put out. Help me a ton. Watch whenever you post. It's awesome, man. Glad to hear it's helping you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Stay involved, guys. Stay networking, stay involved in the community. Tune into these lives, just fill your brain, especially if you're a beginner. The growth process never ends, the knowledge process never ends, but especially if you're a beginner, fill your brain with as much information as possible. I remember when I first started, I was nonstop in terms of I wouldn't even listen to music in the car. I was determined that I needed to every waking moment I had to consume Amazon related content in order to learn how to do this. And so if I was driving from one store to the next, I was listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video. And that's really what separates the people who get their toes wet in the beginning and try it and then end up quitting, from the people who are just determined, no matter what happens, we're going to make it work is what a successful person says. Right. And so if you have that mindset, there's no doubt about it. You can make this model work. Yeah, I think we kind of touched on that. You can't necessarily force brands to care. They either do or they don't. The best way to get them to care. Yeah, the best way to get them to care is to emphasize the things that matter to them.
Exactly. Yeah, value is subjective, So, but again, it's make that determination if they truly don't care or if they're just saying that because they don't understand.
Yeah, it's easy to write something off you don't understand. That's called ignorance.
Yeah.
They're just ignorant because they don't know what they don't know. And when you don't know what you don't know, you need to learn.
Then you don't know.
Somebody's got to educate you, right?
Yeah.
Let's bump it down to Tim. Coming back with Tim. What's going on, man? Nice to have you. Sourcing. Yeah, we should probably jump in real quick. So
let's why don't we actually just touch on that next thing first that he said? Because it's relevant. Would you consider doing a sample call between you guys, where one person is a brand, the other person is a newer seller trying to get their first account established?
Yeah, we've done that before. We have done that before.
Yeah. So, Tim, when we coach and when we do more private stuff, that's something that we do. And Brett always laughs because I'm I have this, my only talent in life is apparently acting like a brand owner. I can't act for any I could never act in anything else, but I can apparently play a spot on brand owner to the point where he gets like, he's like, this is too accurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
Could jump in. If you want to do some sourcing for a couple minutes here, and if there's any questions in the meantime, obviously put them in the chat here. Another thing I will say, if you guys, and we can link this as well, there is a new YouTube video that we have out for you guys to take a look at. And it's 7 years and $7 million worth of Amazon advice in, 13 minutes, however long the video is. So we've gotten some good response on that. And I think that, we talk about paying for information, right? Obviously this is free, but we talk about like paying for information, and because it fast tracks your growth. And so if you can learn from, or if we can learn from, someone that has more experience than us in things and has already been through it, I'm going to take that opportunity. And I think that at least from our experience selling on Amazon thus far, these are the things that have mattered the most to us. So I would definitely watch that YouTube video if you have not seen it yet on the channel.
Yeah, so I'm in Keep a Product Finder here to source right now, which honestly sometimes I like better than Smart Scout. Basically what we're doing is we're getting our 21 million product filter down by setting specific parameters based basically around the same thing that we cover in Smart Scout, right? So like for a beginner, this is a perfect tool because it's $20 a month and you can't sell on Amazon without Keepa. So if Smart Scout's a little bit too rich for you, then start here, right? And so we're going to set a top 90-day average sales rank of 100,000. Buy box is going to be a minimum of $18 sell price. We're going to check Amazon out of stock. We're going to do the same thing here, $18 sell price for new third-party FBA. And then that takes care of our price and sales rank. And then if we keep scrolling down, we can actually filter out categories that we know we can't sell, like Amazon focused categories. So Alexa, Amazon autos, Amazon devices. We want to get rid of clothing because of the high return rate. We want to get rid of electronics for the same reason. And that pretty much covers mostly everything. We don't want to sell books, movies, DVDs, right? And so if you keep scrolling here, you're actually able to set your seller count, right? And so we can set our seller count from like somewhere between 2 and let's say 15 sellers. And then if we scroll down, so we talk a lot about storefront stalking, right? When you storefront stalk, you can actually enter the storefront ID, the seller ID here, which is found in the URL of that storefront. And you can reset all your filters however you want to. You can keep them like how we have here, or you can reset them. And what you can do is you can actually run that seller storefront through Keep a Product Finder, which is probably the most efficient way to storefront stalk. And so the last one is going to be bought in the past month. And we don't want to sell anything that's moving less than 100 units a month. And then the final part that this is a lot of like this part here, a lot of people don't do. And it hits on our underrepresentation on Amazon, meaning the brand does not like have a strong presence. Is this A+ brand content? So if a brand has A+ brand content, it means they have brand registry on Amazon. It means that they have control over their brand. So we try to target brands that don't have control over their brand so that we can come in with the value add, right? And so we check no here, and you guys can see that that brought our product filter from 89,000 down to 22,000. And then we can go ahead and select no A+ content from the manufacturer. And then we can go ahead and we could actually filter out hazmat products. We don't want to deal with that. And then we can hit find products, right? And now we're going to be bombarded with a massive list of products with big brands right here. So like this doesn't bypass big brands. So what I like to do is I like to go all the way to the back here and kind of work myself backwards and just kind of scroll and see what I can find. And then if you click this little Amazon icon, it'll open it up in Amazon. But another cool thing you can do in this tool is that you can look at the stock level of the seller. So you know if that buy box seller is carrying the product wholesale, right? So like somebody with 217 units or 167 units or 100 units probably has it wholesale, same here, versus somebody with like 1 unit, it might be an arbitrage seller. Right. And so like if I clicked on this, and the main reason why I clicked on that was because the main image was out of compliance on Amazon. Actually, I don't even know if that's out of compliance. It's just not a good image.
Yeah, I mean yeah. I mean it's not supposed to be. I mean, it's supposed to be a white background. That background is so bad that it's the picture's so bad that it's almost
looks like they did. Is it looks like they took their phone,
whiteboard.
took a picture of it on Amazon, and then like made the Amazon picture the main picture on Amazon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah, that does. It looks like a computer screen.
Yeah. See, that's the computer right there. That's a good image. Yeah, I mean, see, like this is what I mean. Like this is why that's a great one. This is why we check no A+ brand content, because you end up dealing with brands like this that is just like, you know, they have an atrocious listing. I would want to look into this a little bit further and see exactly what the product is, just because it's a supplement. But if it's just a multivitamin, you're probably okay. I would look at Keepa and see how long it's been in existence. Right. So I'll go here. And yeah, I mean, it sells really well. It was selling like 1,000 units a month at one point at a $66 sell price, which is really good. I mean, it's been in existence forever.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be super profitable too, because the product is like this, probably this big, and it's small and it's light, and there's not a lot of fees on it for pick and pack fees, right? So, I mean, selling for $66, you're probably going to be making a lot of money on this, you know? They have no like terrible A+ brand or they don't have A+ brand content. It's just one sentence in the product.
What does this say? This product is very good and natural multivitamin. It's not even like.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, this would be a perfect example of a brand that we would reach out to. Not in love with the supplement category, but I think you're okay if it's just a multivitamin, you know? I mean, I'd probably do a little bit more research.
Yeah, and I mean, you can look on a more granular level of compliance. You know, it's like just because we don't like certain categories doesn't mean that you have to immediately get rid of it. It's just like it has to check a lot more boxes in the supplement category.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you have to do for sure is you're going to want to check the ingredients in the product with Amazon's restricted product policy, you know?
Yeah.
And you can do that very easily by going, you know, in your selling account and searching up Amazon's RPP, restricted product policy, and literally go ingredient by ingredient and check Amazon's white papers to make sure that that ingredient does not contain any, you know, restrictions. And that's the way we would do this. But yeah, I mean, this is an example of a brand that we would definitely reach out. It's a good.
Didn't need to go too far.
Yeah, I mean, that took 5 seconds. Like that's what I'm talking about. It took 5 seconds. It's really not that. Like once you get the hang of this, like you start going into the rabbit hole, like it never ends, you know? And what drew my eye to that was the bad image. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we could go here, and I think Troxel's a big brand.
What is this?
That's what I was like spending like 2 seconds trying to figure out what the hell that was.
Bucket for coats.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't sell that great. $20, 100 units bought. That's like not really that exciting to me.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I would click
If
on
anyone
this
knows what that
other
is,
products.
let's if anyone knows what that is, just let us know.
Yeah. You know,
But yeah, I mean, I think that was solid with that one we found, you know.
Yeah.
So actually, we had a couple more questions in here too. I don't know if you want to hop back before we wrap it up.
Thank you. These are my blue light glasses.
Yeah,
Helps when you stare at a screen for too long.
Yeah, I wear mine all the time when I'm actually on the computer. Right now, I usually just don't wear it during the live. It's like when brands exit, what do you think about buying the company, especially for the exclusives? It's not for the faint of heart, but it's we've talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a brand that is potentially looking to exit their company and you have an exclusive agreement with them, it's not outside of the realm of possibility to consider acquiring their company. But you gotta do it right. Like, don't expect to just like that's not just going to be an easy process in terms of operating their business. You know, owning and running a brand, especially if it's in a specific niche on a product that requires like specific knowledge and support from customers, like don't expect to just be able to, I'm going to buy this brand. We made that mistake, you know, we bought a brand and it failed because there was no operator to run the company, right? Tried to get a direct return on the investment through Amazon. And Amazon issued it was just a high return rate on defective product. So we couldn't sell it anymore. And we were out the cost of the company. It wasn't that big, but it's still, you know, wasn't the most pleasant thing in the world. So it's like, yeah, I mean, just don't expect it to be easy, right? And if they're going to transition that over to you, if they're actually you're going to buy their business, they need to stay on board and run that company until it is fully transitioned over to a new operator, which hopefully isn't you. Because if it's you, then now who's going to run your Amazon business, right? So like one of them's got to be systemized to the point where either somebody's got to be running the new business, or you got 100% or not, maybe not 100, maybe 90% systemize the Amazon business so that you can run the new business. But if you don't have any knowledge in running the new business, there's going to be a massive time delay in starting to understand that knowledge, right? So just, you know, things to consider when you're going down that road. I think it's a good opportunity, but it's easy to overlook a lot of these different things, you know, and just see the positives of the situation. How do someone get out of the States? Credit card line of credit. So, I mean, do you have anything on that for getting a line of credit or a funding outside?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it's probably all. It's definitely not our area of knowledge, right? But I would imagine that if you are, I mean, I could be completely wrong on this, but if you have a company within the United States, do you not develop business credit on that company within the U.S. as well?
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to get a credit card in the US if you have a company based in the US. The other thing you can get is
Yeah,
Amazon lending too. Amazon offers like a lot like lending
yeah,
directly through Amazon, which uniquely is based off of your data on Amazon, right? So like you can get
right,
a lot more money from Amazon than you could with a traditional bank because they're basing it off of how much sales you do on Amazon, right?
right.
You know, and so yeah, darkness, Tim. I can't wait for you to start looking forward. Yeah, hopefully we can get it all together. Get the boys in one place. Do a meetup. You could see the reflection from the flash on the product images. Maybe my glasses or something. Um,
No, that was on the one on the main image recently. Like took a picture of the
oh,
screen.
yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, connections are huge, man. Just getting out there, networking, doing everything you can to do it. I mean, that's the name of the game is meeting people, networking.
I mean, that was literally what we said the most important thing was in the video that we just put out. So the 7 years of advice video.
Yeah. Yeah, no. How do you approach to buy this brand's It's actually worth it? Maybe not, not sure about that brand that we had up on the screen. Yeah, I mean, you would literally just call them and tell them that you're interested in opening a wholesale account. And then when you're met with resistance about selling on Amazon, which because you probably will be, you ask them if can why, right?
Yeah, I think he was asking about purchasing like a brand, like we were talking about. We're not going to get like crazy into like acquisition. That's something that is not like it's just not something that we're
Oh yeah, I
going to
mean,
talk about
talking
in
about,
detail.
I mean, how do you approach to buy the brand? You ask them if they
Yeah,
would ever be interested in selling the company, or if they've ever considered selling the company. But you have to have a really good standing relationship to open up that conversation. And chances are, if you have a really good standing
right,
relationship with the brand, you already know they're looking to sell the company, right? They've already maybe clued you
right.
in if you're their number one. It's more of a higher level thing once you get in like deep into the brand direct game and you have these brands and these great relationships with brands. So like if you're just starting, focus on just getting wholesale accounts. Like that should be your focus, not acquiring brands as a beginner. That's
Yeah,
something,
just
more
as
higher level down the line.
just for reference to like you might have a good relationship, and the company that the brand that we lost today, we had a very good relationship with for over a year, and we had no idea that they were selling the company, and we didn't get a notification until it was done, and then they basically just broke the contract. So it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Um, a brand that referred me to a distributor, and they have about 300,000 products on the wine website. How do I go by and check for potential products? Yeah, I mean, you got to run that thing through Scan Unlimited or some sort of a UPC scraper because, that's the only way to do that.
Yeah.
And Tim doesn't require US security score to get that. Okay. You guys
Mhm.
doing a meetup? Maybe someday, man. Maybe someday. Probably not right now, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. We are going to be having, keep your eyes out for it. Obviously, there will be announcements on different things, but some community related stuff in the near future. So, um, yeah, keep an eye out for that.
All right, guys. Well, it was great as always. connecting with all of you, and it's great to see the regular guys on here. I think that we're all learning a lot from each other, and the questions help other people learn. So it's awesome. Within probably about 90 seconds, I found a product on Keep a Product Finder. So the biggest thing is just get in there, start sourcing, start doing the work, find the brands, make a list of 50 brands, and call them. Bing, 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 bing. One by one, call them. There's no phone number available, email them, right? And just keep that process going. Tune into our lives, 7 o'clock Eastern, Wednesdays. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace out.